So Mohammad Hijab is giving some advice to Joe Rogan. On the Joe Rogan podcast, criticized Israel, and then Mohammad Hijab says, "All right, that's good that you did that. Now, what else are you gonna do?" He called it step one, and what other steps are you gonna take? And I want to point out some hypocrisy in what's going on here. So let me have you watch the video first.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? Joe Rogan has recently come out on the Palestine issue and said the following. Let's take a look.
I want to know what she was fired for. Because was it criticism of Israel? Did she show that Edward Snowden video that he put up on Twitter that shows them
maybe
drone bombing those kids those men, I should say unarmed people that were walking towards the rubble that clearly weren't causing any danger to anybody?
Yeah,
they
right.
just bombed them.
Yeah, no, it's your duty. It's just like for Biden or whoever you like, you're supposed to cover up for them because
But the whole thing is like they were always saying they're only targeting Hamas and everybody else is a casualty. Well, if those guys are just unarmed civilians and they're walking alone, that's what they appear to be.
Dresden.
And you just blast them from the sky with robots.
This is the tragedy of war.
Yeah, this is insane. And no one knows what to think now because if you can't talk about that, if you can't say that's real, then you're saying that genocide is okay as long as we're doing it. And
that is what we're saying.
And if you're saying that from a perspective of someone who literally went through the Holocaust, or your people, your tribe went through the fucking Holocaust, and now you're willing to do it?
I hope the irony's not lost on you.
It's so nuts. It's so hard to imagine that someone where a culture, like a country was like officially founded in what, 47?
48.
48? Okay, officially founded. So that's so recent. and you guys are willing to do what was done to you that led you to believe that you needed to start your own country? You're willing to do that at least on a small scale in Gaza. Like there's nothing left. If you see the video.
Now, I must say this is something to be commended. This is something that we respect as the Muslim community, as the pro-Palestinian activists, as humans who care about other humans. We must say we respect this brave and gallant step from Joe Rogan, despite the consternation or the insult that some people, as we will know, in America or other parts of the world will have to his comments. He didn't care. He came out and said them anyway. This is, in fact, moral courage. However, one must ask the question, if this is, in fact, a mini Holocaust, or if it is, in fact, a mini genocide, as you claim, Joe Rogan, then what are we going to do about it? You and I have big platforms. You much more so than I. And do we not, the question is, have a moral responsibility to hold to account those pro-Zionist people who are still calling for the killing of women and children en masse in order to achieve some phantom political objective where there is no end game in place for the Israeli Defense Forces, who are in fact the Israeli occupation forces? Are we not now, if we are witnessing, as you claim, as we agree, a mini Holocaust of some sorts, going to make the step and promote or bring attention or challenge those antagonists who are attacking humanity with this heinous crime against humanity in Gaza? And this is the question. You're right, Joe Rogan, and you are not just right, but you are on the right side of history, hopefully. But let that be the first step you take, that we take together, to bigger and better things. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So I want to clarify a lot of things first. So I think Joe is right to be criticizing Israel for this. I watched the drone attack that Joe was talking about. It was something that apparently Edward Snowden leaked. And I don't know the details of that video, but without knowing more details, it looks to me like there's no way you could know uh, whether that, if that person was a Hamas or military person. They weren't carrying weapons. I'm trying to imagine how Israeli intelligence could have known that that person was a military person for Hamas. And I don't know anything about military intelligence, but at the least, they need to be pressed about that issue. And there's I haven't looked into details to see if there's a ton more like that, but one like that is enough to dig deeper and find out what's going on. And my guess is people have already done that. And but now back to Mohammad Hijab here. He's saying Joe took a first step, and that the later steps need to be talking more about this and criticizing Israel's actions towards Palestine, the Palestinians. And he's saying the reason it needs to be this way. He's saying we need to be consistent. Not just this first step, but keep going. And I agree with Mohammad Hijab here, but I think he's missing something very basic. But actually, I want to say something about Israel real quick. There's people who are trying to treat practically all Palestinians as Hamas. I recently watched something by I forget his name, the son of a Hamas leader, and he said that he treats them all the same. I don't know what he meant by that. I didn't get to ask him. He said it on a show. Nobody asked him. My problem with this is, listen, there are people in Palestine who are not Hamas. They're not even Muslims anymore. They're ex-Muslims. They don't believe in Hamas's goals to wipe out Israel and the Jews. They just want to live in peace. And the thing is, ex-Muslims like this who want to live in peace and are being threatened, in this case, they're being threatened by Israel because they're being treated as if they are Muslims. But in the Islamic countries where there is the death penalty for apostasy and for speaking out about your suffering from Islam and criticism of Islam, those ex-Muslims in all those countries are facing a similar situation. They're getting persecuted by their own government. In the case of Israel and Palestine, they're getting persecuted by Israel. And I want to be very clear, they're also getting persecuted by Hamas. There's been plenty of, there's plenty of that. So I'm not defending Hamas here at all. But the point is, to Mohammad Hijab and really to Joe Rogan, if you agree the first step is to criticize Israel for treating all of Palestine as Hamas and Muslims, let's. It makes sense to take it further. You want to defend human rights, defend the ex-Muslims in all of those Islamic countries where they face the death penalty for speaking their mind, speaking about their suffering, to have some self-therapy, just to talk about your problems with other people, and to be able to help others escape the suffering that we faced. Now I say we, I'm speaking for other people here. I've lived my whole life in America, so I have not had this problem. And I didn't really understand the problem till way later in my life when I spoke to other ex-Muslims. So what's going on in Israel and Palestine and what Mohammad Hijab is saying about this, he should take it further. And so should Joe Rogan. Let's not confuse all Muslims or all Muslim countries as if they're all Muslims in there. Let's not confuse Palestine as if they're all Hamas or all Muslims. That's it for now.